It's been years since the death of my parents. A lot has changed in Skyrim, but sadly, a lot has stayed the same. Criminals run rampant while the guards and lawmen look the other way. Citizens see someone in distress and don't even bat an eye. This land needs someone who isn't afraid, someone who's had enough. Someone who's willing to face the danger head on, willing to defend the innocent, and
Help! Help! I'm being attacked and robbed for everything I own by thugs! Somebody! Anybody! Help me!
well, this is normally where I'd spring into action, but I feel like this speech is much more important. Plus, he should be fine. He looks like a strong guy. He could fend for himself. Now where was I? To defend the innocent and give Skyrim hope. It's time to stop standing idly by and act. That is why I...
Oh gods, there's 5 of them now and they're all brandishing weapons! I can't fend them off!
Sir, you are being very rude right now. I am in the process of heroically monologuing while brooding. I'd appreciate it if you stop interrupting so I can finish and come save you. That is why I do this. To be the light in the darkness. I am the silent protector in the shadows. To those who do wrong.
Ah! I've been stabbed in the chest and kicked in the groin! Why is no one helping me?
I am almost done. I will be with you shortly. To those who do wrong, I am the terror that lurks in the night that you love. I am Batman. Alright, now to help this prick. Oh, he's dead. Oh. Alright, starting now, I'll be all those things that I said. Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Efrain, and I like playing Skyrim on the Xbox with mods and telling you all about those mods in a video. Thanks for tuning in. I've wanted to cover this mod ever since I saw it pop up on the featured mods section at Bethesda.net, solely for the reason that it revolved around one of the greatest superheroes of all time, Batman. Now the portrayal of Batman in most current day mediums has always been executed fairly well. Except for that one time where it seemed everybody involved got really drunk and produced a version of Batman that was straight up an affront to human rights. It physically hurt to watch. If I ever had to choose between watching a 3-hour version of Two Girls and One Cup or Batman vs Superman, I'd shoot myself in the fucking head. So I wanted to see if this lovingly created Skyrim mod fit in with the other exceptional depictions of the Dark Knight. This is a fairly large mod that clocks in at 294 megabytes, which includes the Batman armor you've seen already, a lore-friendly backstory, a small lore-friendly origin quest story, and a huge Batman-inspired player home. Additionally, the mod maker has stated that there will be more additions to this mod in the future that will fully transform you into the Caped Crusader. But until then, I couldn't help but offer some mod suggestions that will fit right in with this character. Now, let's take a closer look at the Bat of Skyrim for the Xbox One by Skitch Walker. To begin the quest and enable all parts of this mod, simply sleep at any bed for any amount of time. During your little nap, a game prompt appears which reads, "I've been having the same recurring dream lately." As I awoke from it last night, I wrote it down while it was still fresh in my mind. Then the mod's quest begins, named A Legend Rises. Check your inventory in the books section to find a journal labeled My Journal. Reading it activates the next part of the quest, but the contents of the journal give you more information than just where to go next. What you'll find is the whole Bruce Wayne backstory adapted to the style and setting of the Elder Scrolls/Skyrim universe. There's quite a lot here to read, so I'll do my best to summarize it concisely. The journal starts with you being haunted by the night your parents died. The journal also describes in detail about what happened that night. It occurred near Valthame Towers in Whiterun. A group of bandits ambushed the family carriage, and the vampire leader, Chill, attacks your parents. Your dad dies, your mom dies, and of course a fine pearl necklace is massacred in the process. They leave you, the young hero, alive and alone in the ransacked carriage where the bodies of your parents lay before you. During the night, wolves arrive and feed on the corpses. This detail isn't accurate to the classic Batman story, nor is it very important in the summary, but I wanted to highlight it simply because it's so fucking hardcore. A merchant finds you at dawn and takes you back home to Alfred, and Alfred, being the absolute saint of a man he is, takes care of you while teaching you some sword fighting. Some time passes and you hear a vampire that matches Chill's description has been thrown into the Whiterun Hooskow. Naturally, you go there to enact revenge. Once you're there, you discover that the man in jail is not Chill. It's an impersonator paid to go to jail for Chill in order to help his family. Shocked at the revelation that you almost killed an innocent man, you leave Whiterun and continue to look for Chill. You discover the black hand tattoo on Chill's arm, which is a detail I admittedly should have mentioned earlier, is the symbol of the Dark Brotherhood. Having only this to go on, you find a member of the Dark Brotherhood one night in town and begin following him in hopes it will lead you to Chill. Unfortunately, you get jumped by 6 other members and get knocked out. When you wake up, you find that you are being framed for the murder of a nobleman and shipped to Helgen to be executed. Yes, you literally get knocked into the Skyrim intro.
Hey, you're finally awake.
This joke basically wrote itself. And you know how the rest goes. Never gets old. And that brings us back to the present, where after all that, it's time to return home. Wayne Manor is located in the southeastern region of Skyrim, just north of the small town of Ivarstead. As a matter of fact, you can get there by following the main path out of town. It's just around a hill and trust me, you can't miss it. This thing sticks out like the goth kid in gym class. A grand gothic style building resting on a handful of majestic cascades. I don't think it's an understatement to say the Waynes don't shy away from the dramatics. In all seriousness, the building is quite impressive and the view is beautiful. Upon closer inspection, the manor is modeled exactly after Solitude's castle courtyard. Its windmill is even included. It does look much better as all the military training equipment and soldiers have been replaced with tons of greenery. Unfortunately, a lot is sealed off, but there is promise for future additions to this mod and I can easily see these closed off areas as rooms and areas for more content. The interior of the mansion is just as detailed, decorated, and lovely as the outside, but there is a quest to finish first. We'll be taking a look at all the areas of the manor in detail later. For now, another prompt appears as you reach the main gate, where you just pull the key to this place straight out of your ass. Then head to the main hall located at the back of the courtyard. Entering the hall reveals that Alfred is gone and locked the place up before he left, essentially meaning no NPCs or other characters in this mod yet. If you continue to explore, eventually you'll come to your father's study where you get another prompt. This time, it's recalling some of the memories you had with your father. If you look under his desk, you'll find a lockbox with a key in it labeled Vault Key. Take the key as you'll need it to inherit your fortune, but also for the next part of the quest. If you go to the back wall of the study where a wardrobe stands, you'll notice the wardrobe looks a bit odd. On a wall to your left behind a candle rests a button. Pressing the button reveals a secret doorway from the wardrobe wall. Going through the mansion's secret path reveals 2 main rooms. The first is the family vault with all the gold you could ever want. The second is an underground pathway that leads you to the master suite. But if you go to the supposed dead end, straight from the wardrobe entrance, and perform some investigating, you'll find another secret. There's a handle lever behind a set of old boxes on the left side wall. Pulling it reveals another hidden door out of the stone wall. What lies ahead is something I already expected, but was still genuinely impressed with. I was utterly astonished by the detail and grandeur of the room that lies just beyond this dark tunnel. What is this place? It looks as if it's laid dormant for centuries. I wonder if anyone knew. Whoever did this must be behind this impressive collection. What have I stumbled into? Head to the center of the cave and on a table in front of a map of Skyrim sits another journal, the biography of Solomon Wayne. There is a lot to read here and feel free to as it gives more backstory to this mod. Essentially, your grandfather was a great Thieves Guild Grand Master, the infamous Grey Fox, and a nightingale. He used his skills to steal from the corrupt and earn his fortune, his home, and his family. After his son was born and his wife died, he quit all the thieving and began to live as an honest nobleman, sealing his history away in this cave for what was supposed to be forever. That is, of course, until you came along and fucked everything up, you little stupid son of a bitch. After closing up your grandfather's biography, you feel like you've had yourself a hell of a day and you think the best course of action is to have another nap. You get another prompt as you sleep detailing a new dream, this time about a giant bat. You go back to the cave and realize what must be done in order to battle the forces of evil in Skyrim. You must utilize fear. So grab the nightingale armor from the mannequin and get to work over at the large elaborate workbench. In order to create the signature Batman armor, you'll need a handful of crafting materials. You'll need a total of 16 leather strips, 10 steel ingots, a pair of gloves, and of course the set of ancient nightingale armor. The cowl for the set is only available after you craft all the other pieces of armor. You can find a pair of gloves on the workbench just on your left, while all the leather strips you need are located on a leather rack to your right on another workstation. The ingots can also be found on a shelf to the left of the leather area, but wasn't working properly whenever I activated the shelf during the quest. Now equip the armor, bask in its glory, and become the notorious vigilante. Exit the cave and begin living your life as the Bat of Skyrim. Now, with all the main elements of the mod being introduced, let's take a closer look at everything included in this mod. As I said before, the manor is directly modeled after the castle in Solitude. There is even a giant windmill and tower which you can access, but more on that later. During the day, the courtyard is quite nice as it's completely covered with flowers, trees, and greenery. You can pick all these items up for alchemy uses, but I am unable to confirm if these grow back. There isn't much else outside the manor that is notable, so let's make our way indoors, starting with the section not yet shown off, the Master Suite. The Master Suite is the primary living and storage area. As soon as you enter, you are greeted with a total of 9 mannequins, 7 on the ground floor and 2 facing the windows on the second floor, and 8 display cases. Feel free to use as much of this area up, as I'm sure that a fully stocked display area would look mighty impressive. Over on the left is a kitchen filled with food, obviously, and a couple of alchemy ingredients. There's also 2 storage areas cleverly made to be a food pantry and a freezer. I particularly like the meat freezer as I think it's creative to utilize ice and snow in this way. The bedrooms are on the second floor, and we'll start with the children's room located at the end of the hall on your left. The only thing notable to mention here is the large collection of Skyrim figures decorating the back wall. These are the characters found on the vanilla loading screens, and it's inferred to be your old toys from when you were a child. These are all non-interactable and not important in the slightest, but I like them anyway because they're an in-game resource that's the least utilized and least explored. There's of course a small bed that you can use here, and that's about it. Across the hall is a small dining room with nothing really worth pocketing. It is, however, decorated heavily with the heads of all the things Mr. Wayne has killed over the years, almost to an uncomfortable degree some might say. There's a door at the back of the room that leads to the windmill tower. You can climb up to look over the mansion, the mountains, and that famous Skyrim landscape. It's a great place to get a nice view of the land and perfect for an orphan vigilante to dramatically brood. Finally, we go back to check out the master bedroom. It's got a nice bed but also another secret wardrobe doorway that leads you to the other area of the manor, Wayne Hall. You can take this underground passage that goes through the courtyard, but for this tour I'd figured it best to start at the entrance. Now, Wayne Hall is the room that looks exactly like how you'd imagine a classic mansion to look. It's old, extravagant, and dramatic, so pretty standard to how the Waynes roll. At the center of the room there's a huge banquet table furnished with silver dinnerware. If this wasn't included in a mansion mod, I'm pretty sure the mod maker would be committing a crime. At the head of the table, there is also a throne, Shore's throne to be exact, because the head of the Wayne household can't sit in just any chair like a peasant. At the back end of the room, there is a cozy fireplace decorated with the 2 cast members of the Berenstain Bears and a dragon skull resting at the top of the fireplace. If there was any way to show just how rich you are in Skyrim, it'd be just like this. Just casually hanging up a dragon skull in your lounging area where you sip Blackbriar Reserve on a nightly basis. Moving along, immediately to the right of the banquet table is a door which you unlock using a key from the quest. This leads to the family crypts, which has nothing usable but is a room fully committed to the lore and backstory of this mod. We now move to the second floor opposite of the study, where there really isn't anything here apart from a table with some nice decorative items. There is a door that leads to the upper courtyard walkway where you can have yourself a nice evening stroll. Now we head back to the study that is just a nicely decorated room with trinkets, figures, and display cases. On the table you can activate a business ledger that allows you to inherit your massive fortune. The shelves serve as another storage compartment where you can put any item. And the final room, technically in Wayne Hall, is located just below the study by activating the wardrobe door. This room is comically adorned with piles of gold littering the floor and spilling out of overstocked chests. There is another business ledger on the table in the center where you can access your fortune, and that's about it for this room. I will say I did chuckle quietly to myself upon seeing this room simply because it's just a wholesome, comical, generalized depiction of absurd wealth that I genuinely loved. The final room we'll be taking a look at is the Batcave. This is my favorite area because it's so dedicated to paying homage to the Batcave in the comics. There's the giant coin, the Robin suit, the dragon statue that's supposed to be the dinosaur statue, and the ring in the center with magic and maps that simulate the Bat computer. All it needs is a playing card with Cicero's face on it and it'd be perfect. The entrance is riddled with trinkets from the Thieves Guild quest and other non-interactive statues. You'll most likely be drawn to the Robin-colored Thieves Guild armor in the display case. Unfortunately, you are not able to interact with the armor set, but maybe sometime down the line you'll be able to use it or equip it to a follower. As it is now, it's just a very cool ornament. Going through the doorway directly from the entrance takes you to a caged walkway above the Batcave. It ultimately serves as the fastest route to the center of the cave with a scenic view. The center of the Batcave has a lot of interesting little decorative items and maps of Skyrim and Solstheim to make it look busy and impressive. There's also another storage area here labeled spells, which only works whenever it damn well feels like it. Just behind you on the round table sits a Nightingale crossbow. It's statistically identical to the enhanced steel crossbow, having a base damage of 19 and a 50% armor penetration effect. The only thing that separates this mod exclusive crossbow from the base Skyrim crossbows is its darkened color and its inability to be improved at a grindstone. In that regard, this is a weaker weapon, but for people who want to jump into this mod and haven't started the Dawnguard expansion, it's an okay weapon. However, there is limited amount of steel bolts here, so if you want to go down the road of using this crossbow, you might have to start the Dawnguard quest anyway. Just behind that is the mannequin where the ancient Nightingale armor was. And the final little detail I like to appreciate is the bats that fly overhead whenever you approach the center of the cave. It's really just dramatic flair for the sake of adding drama and flair. To the right of the center of the cave is a cool alchemy laboratory with ingredients growing all around the table. Walking a little further, there's an enchanting table and the complex workbench from the quest. Just behind them are more mannequins with texture issues appearing on the face. This might have something to do with a mod conflict in my load order, but I don't know that for sure and can't be bothered to fix it. Behind this area is the smithing station. The infirmary, which you should also be familiar with from the quest, is located behind the mannequins. It's equipped with 2 beds, a fully stocked cabinet of healing potions, and a set of torture tools for romantic evenings. If we head downstairs, there's a training area furnished with training dummies, archery targets, and a giant disgusting bucket of blood. There's also like weapons and equipment and stuff. The last room is the secret entrance, which you can use to enter and exit the Batcave, located just north of the center of the cave. This outdoor area comes with a stable for your future bat horse and a giant sliding rock door. It can be activated using the chain or just by walking right up to it and hitting A, because I guess the mod maker just decided, fuck it, that's enough hidden levers and chains for secret doors. Just use your selective Herculean strength to lift up this big ass boulder. And that concludes the MTV Cribs portion of this video. Overall, Wayne Manor and the Batcave are incredible, and I am impressed with the mod maker's attention to detail when referencing the source material. Their overall quality design is also stellar. You can tell these areas were lovingly crafted with full intent to pay homage to the comics, TV shows, and films. It's even better that they were able to do so by seamlessly weaving the Batman imagery with Skyrim in a believable way, and for that I have to commend them. Speaking of the seamless integration of two separate things due to the circumstances at hand, unlike this transition that I've completely fumbled, let me try that again. Speaking of seamlessly weaving Batman into Skyrim, let's talk about the Batman in Skyrim. The suit is as Batman can be in Skyrim, but there are some complications with it. First, let's get into some stats. All pieces of the suit fall under light armor, which is understandable. Since all the pieces are essentially modified versions of vanilla Nightingale armor, it also makes sense that its properties transfer over to the Bat version. All pieces have a slightly higher armor rating, and the enchantments from the original carry over as well. The cuirass has a base armor rating of 46 with a 20-point increase in stamina and a 15% increase in resisting frost damage. The cowl has an armor rating of 21 and a Fortify Illusion enchantment that makes casting illusion spells cost 12% less magicka. The boots have a base armor rating of 14. They also possess a muffled enchantment making sneaking much more effective. The gauntlets also have a base armor rating of 14 and a 15% increase to the lockpicking and one-handed skill. The utility belt, a new addition to the vanilla armor, does not offer any protection, but gives you a 50-point carrying capacity increase. Finally, the scallop cloak is just a piece of fabric because it has no armor points and no enchantment. You can, however, enchant it with whichever of the 30 enchantments applicable to neck apparel. The armor set cannot be upgraded at any workbench, so you get what you get, which makes me sad. What doesn't make me sad is the design of this armor set. It's a very safe but a stylish modification of the Nightingale armor set, which gets the point across that this is a Batman mod made for Skyrim's world. There are subtle changes to the armor that mends the bridge between the character and the game, like the bat design on the chest made from overlapping existing material already found on the armor. There are small spikes on the gauntlets which were already very Batman-like, but this small addition really solidifies the character's unique look. The three additions are all pretty great as well. The utility belt is an appreciated add-on that references the original depictions even though it doesn't include the illustrious shark repellent. The cloak is a dark and slightly mangled piece of apparel which perfectly fits with the style and character. And the cowl is, well, Batman. This armor set is also available for female characters and looks just as good. Now, as good as this armor looks and plays, there are some issues we have to talk about. Surprisingly, most of the problems from this mod actually stem from the armor. The biggest issue I guarantee that you'll face is a game crash every time you initially make the armor set during the quest. You'll be happily working on your suit and suddenly get kicked out of the game and end up looking at the Xbox home screen. This is easily remedied by simply reloading the most recent save, and then you should be able to craft the set and continue with it no problem. It is, however, a very annoying problem that I've never seen happen with a simple crafting mechanic in a mod. This next issue is purely visual and, like the issue mentioned before, can be solved easily, but is still rather annoying. The cowl on the set is not tuned to the various facial features on your characters. You'll notice the nose may clip out of the mask, as well as other parts of the head. That can easily be solved by visiting the face sculptor in Riften or using an appearance changing mod like the Cheat Room mod. Unfortunately, there are several races that will not benefit from altering their appearance as their features are far too pronounced and distinct. The mask will never fit their form. These races are the Khajiit, Argonian, and the Orc. There doesn't seem to be a definite fix for this on the modder's end, as it seems extremely difficult and almost impossible to account for the vast amount of differences in every Skyrim face that can be generated. I will say that where it is now is fine. It could be better, but really that's being far too particular. The final issue I found with this armor is that it's weirdly disenchantable. It should count as a unique item that cannot be destroyed, just like the Nightingale armor, but every piece can be disenchanted and destroyed. If you want to do that for some reason, that's fine, but you don't get another set as a replacement or the ability to craft it again anywhere in the mod. Unique items should not have the option to be destroyed this easily without any way of getting them back in a mod. Accidents happen. And when they do happen, it's heartbreaking. Hopefully this is fixed in the near future to avoid these kinds of tragic incidents. Despite these minor issues, this is still a very good looking armor set. This is one of the best examples of how to adapt a foreign concept into the Skyrim style. Some might say it's very simple or lazy, but it accomplishes the goal to put a lore-friendly Batman in Skyrim with minimalistic and believable alterations while still looking very, very good. So now we have the story, the headquarters, and the suit. The only thing missing now is the gadgets. That is, unfortunately, absent in this mod. Luckily, there are tons of mods that can fill that void, and all the ones I'm recommending are small and have been featured on this channel already. The first is Ordinator, Perks of Skyrim by Scion, which is only a 20.9 megabyte install. I've talked about Ordinator in the past and highly recommend it for every Skyrim playthrough for one reason. It truly allows you to create any character and play however you want, and Batman is no exception to this statement. Ordinator comes with a variety of different powers you can unlock in several skill trees. Some of them come with the ability to lay down traps and craft items with fun and interesting effects. In the Sneak skill tree, you can unlock the ability to lay down a tripwire that knocks down enemies and severely decreases their protections for a short amount of time. This skill tree also comes with a smokescreen power, which works like it's supposed to sometimes, and greatly enhances sneak attacks for more weapons than just daggers. Lockpicking has some cool stuff as well. It allows you to pick up bear traps and place them wherever you are. They do damage based on your lockpicking skill, and at a high enough level, you unlock the ability to add effects on them like poison or disease. Just make sure you keep track of where you put them down. Gah, fuck! You can also unlock the ability to lockpick dwarven automatons to force them into a passive state. Later in the skill tree, you can turn a lockpicked automaton into an ally. And in archery, there's a very late ability where you can craft trick arrows that have really fun effects. Force arrows will knock around enemies in a small area. Fire, frost, and shock arrows explode in an AoE that also does their elemental effects to enemies affected. The most fascinating and fun effect I've found is the maze arrows that kinda works like a paralyzing tranq dart. Simply fire it close to enemies for a magical explosion to trigger in a small radius. Everyone in the area will be unable to move and become totally unaware to your presence, so you can sneak by or murder them to death. All these traps and items are really fun to play around with and make you feel like a medieval Batman. If you truly want to replicate the character, I ditched the swords and axes in favor of fists. Luckily, Ordinator has a sub-skill tree in the light armor category dedicated to unarmed combat with much more impactful effects than vanilla Skyrim or other unarmed mods. I've talked about this in more detail in my older video, Deadly Fists of Skyrim, but didn't mention that you can unlock a power to add elemental shockwaves to your unarmed attacks. I chose Shock because that seems very Batman-like. And just like I did in the past, I'm coupling this with the hand-to-hand skills mod by Pancho Joshi that's only 3.1 megabytes. I've also thoroughly covered this mod in my older video, but to refresh, this mod includes third-person combat animations, craftable unarmed weapons, and a lackluster skill tree. If you want to get all the effects of Ordinator with all the other items and effects of hand-to-hand, then put this mod before Ordinator in your load order. Ordinator will simply overwrite this mod's skill tree while leaving the rest unchanged. You also greatly benefit from the unarmed weapons this mod adds that not only provide more damage to your unarmed attacks, but also allows you to attack faster and allows you to quickly switch to your knuckles with the use of a hotkey. There's a lot more I could say about this mod, but my older video delves much deeper into all the effects, so if you'd like a more detailed look, then go and check out that video. Finally, I'm recommending 50% more perk points by Scion again. This is a support mod for Ordinator to help get your character online much faster. It clocks in at a measly 2.5 kilobytes. This will help you attain more powers and unlock more perks in the Ordinator skill trees. The more options you have at your disposal, the more fun you'll have. and that's frankly all the mods I use to be content with my Batman character. Now, many might consider this lazy because most of these mods are already in my permanent load order, and I've already covered these in the past, so not a whole lot of new information was shared here. Honestly, the changes you'll get from these small mods are so well balanced and fun that I felt that other mods didn't offer the same level of enjoyment and complexity. It didn't feel right to recommend other mods that didn't feel right if my game originally felt fine, but this is incredibly subjective. Feel free to let me know if there are mods that would capture the Batman playstyle more effectively. So that is the Bat of Skyrim. In my honest opinion, this mod is very good. There is a lot of content here fueled by visible passion for the character and the game. I'm a huge fan of the creative choices the mod maker decided to include in every aspect of this mod. One of the goals here was to make a fun Batman mod that would be lore friendly, and they have definitely succeeded in that goal. Absolutely nothing was lost from the story in order to tie the character into the game. Plus, the quest was fun to go through and read up on. The best part of this mod is easily the visuals. The Batman armor set is badass and shows that even just small modifications of vanilla Skyrim items can go a long way. Wayne Manor is a huge player home with a lot of detailed design choices. At the moment, it's gorgeous, but still feels empty. I think the best way to improve it would be to add in Alfred as an NPC to not only nail the Wayne Manor look, but also the feel. Alfred is just as important to the Batman story in comics as Bruce Wayne and practically synonymous with Wayne Manor. Adding him in just doing stuff around the house like cooking, chopping wood, or reading would help solidify the mansion's ambience. Hopefully there's something in the future from a man Alfred. The Batcave is easily my favorite part of this mod. There is just so much love pouring out of it with all the references to the comics. It also has everything you need in a headquarters and doesn't skimp on the details at every notable station. Every part of it has all the bells and whistles that one might expect a Skyrim Batman to have, resulting in a very impressive secondary player home. The flaws and issues in this mod are annoying and ugly, but forgivable. The issue I find the most bothersome is with the file size. The mod clocks in at 294 megabytes, which is quite large, and can easily take up a huge chunk of your load order. There may also be additional features coming soon requiring even more space. This mod captures the look and feel of a Batman/Skyrim character build, but you have to decide if that's really worth the space in your load order solely for that. Now let's return to what originally prompted me to make this video. Is this a depiction of the Dark Knight that belongs with the other great versions of Batman? It certainly does if we're going solely on appearance and accuracy. If there was also a great quest that was treated with the same level of care and accuracy in this mod alongside the origin quest, then that would put this mod on the same plane as the other great Batman depictions. But for now, this is the best Batman mod for the Xbox One version of Skyrim. Check it out if you'd like. Before I end this video, I have an announcement to make that relates to my Skyrim load order. I've been receiving a lot of comments asking what my Xbox load order is, and rather than answer them all individually, I've made a pastebin post that lists them all in my preferred and current sequence that you can all easily see. It includes all the links to the Bethesda pages, so all you need to do is copy the link and paste it into the address bar. On Xbox, search for the mod by typing it exactly as it appears on my list. The link can be found in the description of all my Skyrim videos, so feel free to click on that link. At the moment, it's up to date and will be altered whenever I make any changes. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. My name is Efrain. Adios.